was just so difficult to live. It was difficult to breathe. That moment just made you feel like, अच्छा अब खाने में भी प्रॉब्लम है, जीने में भी प्रॉब्लम है, तो अब क्या ही करें फिर.
दोस्तों, डीप टॉक में आज आपका एक बार फिर से स्वागत है. वेलकम टू डीप टॉक गाइस. आज मेरे पास बहुत ही ख़ास मेहमान है. ये वैसे मैं हर बार कहता हूँ मेरे पास ख़ास मेहमान है, क्योंकि हर मेहमान ख़ास होता है, लेकिन आज ख़ास भी हैं और अलग भी हैं. बहुत सारे स्टार्टअप फाउंडर्स यहाँ आए हैं, बहुत सारे अलग तरह के लोग आए हैं, एंड थेरेपिस्ट आए हैं, मोटिवेशनल चैनल है ये. सो आज आपको मेरी चॉइस ऑफ गेस्ट आई वुड से सबसे अलग है, बट जब अलग होता है तभी सबसे ज़्यादा सीखने को मिलता है. आई हैव समवन हु यू ऑल नो too well, or I would say you don't know her. So I have Rhea Chakraborty here. Hello Rhea, thank you so much for doing Deep Talk.
Thank you for having me, Chetan. I'm seeing you after so many years.
So many years. लोगों को मैं बता दूँ मेरा थोड़ा सा रिया से लिंक है. Rhea was in Half Girlfriend. She was in the movie which I wrote and I was part of the production and all that. तो Half Girlfriend ऐसी फिल्म है जिसके सेट पे मैं रोज़ गया था. तो I used to know you then.
Right.
And we were in New York also.
Correct.
Right? And
न्यूयॉर्क गए थे, केप टाउन गए थे, यूएन गए थे.
UN में, yeah, so Half Girlfriend was the first film that was shot in the United Nations, and we even have pictures. I'll try to find team if just put some pictures of our association there. But उसके बाद we lost touch. उसके बाद we totally lost touch, and then one day I woke up and watched TV, and I saw Rhea Chakraborty in the news. That was something in 2020. Let's start from a point where people don't even get to in your interviews. Because they just want to know कोई मतलब mystery solve करने में लोग लगे हुए हैं. Which as a writer of mysteries I'm telling you guys, it's not like, life is not like that. But anyway, I will not go there, and I will let the people who are doing that job do that job. I'm interested in you, Rhea. When did it start? I don't even know what to call it, but the भूचाल कह लेते हैं आपकी लाइफ का, या earthquake. Tell me the moments, what was happening the day before, like the last peaceful moments you had, and when did it start for you, and what happened?
चेतन, ऐसा नहीं था कि पीसफुल मोमेंट्स चल रहे थे उससे पहले भी. देयर वाज अ लॉट गोइंग ऑन इन माय लाइफ, एंड देयर आफ्टर आई नेवर एक्सपेक्टेड कि इस हद तक भी चीज़ें हो सकती हैं कभी. आप मतलब आप सुबह उठो और एक रिलेटिवली नॉर्मल डे चल रहा है आपकी ज़िंदगी में, और सडनली आपको समझ में आता है कि पूरा जो देश है, या सारे लोग जो हैं, या नेबर से लेकर मॉब से लेकर मीडिया से लेकर न्यूज़ से लेकर आपके दोस्त, किसी को समझ नहीं आ रहा है, लेकिन एक एक्सप्लोजन हो गया आपकी लाइफ में.
Did it suddenly happen? Like did it like you said, a relatively normal day, breakfast चल रहा है, दूध लेके आ रहे हैं. Did it suddenly happen that your world has collapsed, or you first found out that someone had died?
When someone passes away in your life suddenly, obviously it is a jolt, it is a shock. No one expects that to happen, especially with a young person, right? So that shock in itself was led by इतनी सारी चीज़ें जो उसके बाद हुई. तो वो जो सदमा था, वही मतलब बंदा एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पा रहा था. इट टेक्स अ लॉन्ग टाइम. ग्रीफ का जो पहला स्टेज होता है वो शॉक होता है. उस शॉक में आप मोर्निंग की तरफ बढ़ते हो, लेकिन मोर्निंग की तरफ बढ़ने से पहले ही बहुत सारी दूसरी एलिगेशंस और चीज़ें मेरी लाइफ में मेरे ऊपर आ गई थी. सो
इमीडिएट वो हुआ और वो साथ ही में हुआ.
ऑलमोस्ट साइमल्टेनियस, या.
Okay. And you were sitting and you were at home with your parents,
Right.
brother, and then what was the conversation on the dining table?
See, there was no conversation because कोई ये इमेजिन नहीं कर सकता था कि किस हद तक चीज़ें जाएंगी. You never understand और estimate कि कहाँ तक क्या होगा, राइट? तो आप उस वक्त आप वो सब नहीं सोच पाते हो कि अच्छा वो होगा तो क्या होगा. आप सिर्फ ये सोच रहे हो कि इस वक्त जो हम महसूस कर रहे हैं, जो हम फील कर रहे हैं, जिस लॉस को मैं फील कर रही हूँ, ये मैं प्रोसेस कैसे कर पाऊँगी, इस लॉस को कैसे मैं डील कर पाऊँगी. उस वक्त तो सिर्फ वही थॉट रहता है. फिर धीरे धीरे जैसे मीडिया में चीज़ें आने लगी, मुझे समझ में आया कि अच्छा शायद मेरे पास इस समय वो लग्जरी नहीं है ग्रीविंग की. शायद इस समय मुझे एक अपना आर्मर पहनना है और अपने वेपन्स उठाने हैं और बैटल फील्ड में जाना है, क्योंकि इस समय वो ज़रूरी है. इस समय लोग मुझे अटैक कर रहे हैं, मेरे घर को अटैक कर रहे हैं, मेरे परिवार को अटैक कर रहे हैं, मेरी बिल्डिंग के नीचे मॉब्स खड़ी हैं.
Happened the same day, like, or the
Same, a month and a half after that.
was it like it all went topsy-turvy in one day, or was it a gradual thing, day by day बात बढ़ते जा रही है?
I think it was a gradual thing. मतलब दिन पर दिन, week per week, month by month, it just got more and more and more. And I think the crescendo or the hiatus was reached when I got arrested.
You got arrested, Rhea. You went to jail.
Yeah.
You were an actress, attending parties, going on shoots, award functions, hanging out. You were a star yourselves, actors. Like that was your like they are the elite and of the elite of this country. And then you went to jail. Did you know that you are going to get arrested that day, or did you like it just came like police came to your door, or how did it happen?
No, I mean, as everyone has seen it, like there was a crescendo to it. There was a build up to that. It was
trending, the hashtag.
trending. People wanted it to happen. It was going to happen. Now I'm not going to get into why it happened. Should have had happened. Should have not. Fact is, it happened, right?
We are just going through your journey, and let me again clarify, I am not interested in like what like led. I'm just trying to understand how like आपकी mental state क्या थी? You knew कि होने वाला है, या दरवाजे पे घंटी बजी और हुआ, या
I kind of had a sense कि होगा. You know, because this is the kind of pressure that I felt from everybody, like the whole media around me kind of kept yelling that, right? तो आपको कहीं लग रहा था कि ये हो जाए, and I think I reached a point where I was like ये हो ही जाए तो better है, सब चुप हो जाएंगे, you know, because it was a chase for so long. इतने दिन तक इतने लोग मेरे पीछे पड़े हुए थे, मतलब घर से निकलना मुश्किल था, घर से निकल के इंटेरोगेशन तक पहुंचना मुश्किल था, और गाड़ी में बैठना मुश्किल था. मेरी गाड़ी ऐसे हिलती थी थर 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 थर, इतने लोग उसको धक्का देते थे. तो दैट एग्जिस्टेंस वॉज नॉट ओके बाई मी. वो ऐसे कोई कौन क्यों जीना चाहेगा? आई मीन आई वॉज प्रिफरिंग कि यार ये ख़त्म हो जाए, जो बातें हैं सब सामने आ जाए, एंड यू नो इट गेट्स क्लैरिफाइड. उसके लिए अगर मुझे जेल जाना पड़े तो जेल ही सही. उस हद तक चीज़ें हो गई थी उस वक्त की
अब आई जाओ भाई,
अब आई जाओ, ख़त्म करो, एंड दिस ड्रामा, ये ड्रामा बंद करो. क्योंकि काफ़ी हद तक तो वो एक सीरियल था. इट हैड बिकम अ शो फॉर एवरीबडी, एंड माई लाइफ एंड आई वर ऑन डिस्प्ले. तो यू वॉन्ट टू गेट डन विद दैट. यू लाइक अरे बस करो अब.
your dad and mom, how were they during this period, if I can call it the pre-arrest period?
यार कैसे हो सकते हैं किसी के मॉम डैड?
बात करते थे आपसे, कैसे कहते थे, या ये क्या हो रहा है? what kind of people are they very, you know, those parents who are very scared easily? Your dad was in defense, right?
Right. Army.
My father was also in the army, by the way. So, and we both went to army public school.
Right.
Different. Ambala, Delhi, but yes. So, is he strong? Did he give you motivation? Did he say, "Beta, kuch, it's okay, just stay calm"? What was his like advice to you during this period?
I think he was very like he's a colonel, a retired colonel. So he was the colonel to this small battalion that we were. हम सब उनकी एक फ़ौज थे छोटी सी, और वो हमें लीड कर रहे थे कि देखो इट्स गोइंग टू बी लॉन्ग ड्रॉन, ये लंबा बैटल है. तो मतलब अगर फूड का सप्लाई इतना है तो आज के दिन आप इतना ही खा सकते हो, और कल के दिन इतना खाना है, और ये 7 दिन तक चलाना है. जस्ट टू गिव यू अ मेटाफोरिकल एग्जाम्पल. और ऐसा था कि हम चारों के बीच में देयर वाज एन अनसेड रिदम कि आज कोई वीक लग रहा है, आज मम्मी लग रही है कि यू नो मम्मी इज़ डाउन, शी इज़ क्रम्बलिंग. तो हम बाकी 3 बात करके डिस्कस करते थे कि अब हम तीनों ने आज उठाना है उनको, आज हमारी बारी है. अच्छा कल देखेंगे कि कौन. सबका एक डाउन डे होता था, और हर दिन किसी ना किसी का होता था. बिकॉज वो जो लेवल ऑफ स्ट्रेस, पैरानोया, एंग्जाइटी, फ्रस्ट्रेशन उस समय चल रहा था, उसमें क्रम्बल होना बहुत ही मतलब जायज़ सी बात है. और वो सब हो रहे थे धीरे 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 एक एक करके. बट एज अ टीम हमें काफ़ी स्ट्रेंथ थी. एज अ टीम वी स्टूड टू होल्ड दैट पर्सन. एंड माई डैड इज़ ऑल्सो अ डॉक्टर इन द आर्मी. तो ही कुड बी एट टाइम्स very clinical about it कि you know okay this one's mental state is going, this one की physical state ख़राब हो रही है, तो आप प्लीज़ थोड़ा सा खाना वाना खाना शुरू करो, और आप you need to now not watch the news, or you need to now why don't you sleep for, take an afternoon nap, that'll make you feel better. And it was long drawn because it was almost 5-6 months where there was the media chasing, and then the arrests, then coming out of jail, then my brother coming out of jail, which took another 2 months after me. So as a whole, the family suffered from a long drawn winter of trauma, जिसमें कि my parents played a very crucial role in holding the family together. My mom and my dad, kudos to them, like salute to them. The way they were able to stand by their children is no less than I have seen any like female and male survivor when you see them in a jungle protecting their family against like a natural calamity or something as big as that.
Yeah. You know, I had the Sandeep Agarwal, who is the founder of Droom, and he made Shop Clues earlier. He came in the last podcast. He has a very interesting story. He opened Shop Clues. Guys, you can watch that podcast too. And then he got involved in some case in the US. And he got arrested by the FBI. And that whole Shop Clues vanished. And everybody, all his funding. And then, of course, that's a long story. You have to see the podcast. Then he came back. And there was a comeback. And he opened Droom now, which is another unicorn. And he was saying that, Chetan, 3 सबसे ज़्यादा अनफॉर्चुनेट चीज़ें इंसान के साथ हो सकती हैं. एक तो किसी का एक्सीडेंट हो जाए और वो मर जाए. दूसरा, उसे कोई टर्मिनल डिजीज़ हो जाए और वो मर जाए, जैसे कैंसर. और तीसरा, उसकी रेपुटेशन की ऐसे तहस नहस हो जाए. डू यू एग्री? like just like this thing, did it feel like, here I was trying to make it in Bollywood, I had a few movies, you weren't like a superstar or anything, but you had done films, you were doing films, you were getting some work, and धीरे धीरे बढ़ ही रहा था. Did you feel like what just happened?
It सच बोलूँ तो थोड़ा वक्त लगा उस चीज़ को समझने में कि अच्छा ओके ये जो रेपुटेशन स्पेशली विमेन हम बहुत अपने मतलब दिल के करीब रखते हैं, बहुत संभाल के, अच्छा ऐसे नहीं बैठते हैं या वैसे नहीं बैठते हैं या ऐसे कपड़े वहाँ नहीं पहनते हैं, ये सब जो हमारी कंडीशनिंग होती है, ये जो मैंने बनाया है इतने सालों में, अब ये बिल्कुल रहा नहीं. अब इसकी कोई वैल्यू नहीं थी जो मैंने अब तक किया है. अब जो लोगों को समझना है वो समझ रहे हैं. तो इनिशियली एक सेंस ऑफ लॉस होता है विद द पर्सनैलिटी जो आपने क्रिएट की है. हम खुद बनाते हैं अपनी पर्सनैलिटी, राइट? स्पेशली 0 to 9 में हम बनाते हैं कि अच्छा हमें ये पसंद आता है, अच्छा मैं बड़े होकर ऐसी बनूंगी या मैं ऐसा बनूंगा, मैं इस टाइप की लड़की हूँ या मैं इस टाइप का लड़का हूँ. जब उस पर इतनी तेज़ आक्रमण होता है जिस तरह से मेरे रेपुटेशन और इमेज पे हुआ था, तो उसका टूट जाना ही बेटर है. क्योंकि अगर आप उसको पकड़ के रखोगे तो आप समझ नहीं पाओगे कि यार मैंने क्या गलत किया, क्या मैंने उसे ठीक से नहीं पाल पोस के बड़ा किया, या लोगों को समझ में नहीं आया कि मैं क्या कह रही थी. तो वो डिसोसिएशन बहुत ज़रूरी था मेरे लिए, चेतन. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर मी टू रियलाइज दैट ओके वेट अ मिनट, ये जो मैंने रेपुटेशन बनाई है इसका इससे कोई लेना देना नहीं है, लेकिन खैर इस वक्त मुझे सोसाइटी का ही समझ नहीं आ रहा है तो मैं यही छोड़ देती हूँ. एंड वो एक कहना आसान है, करना मुश्किल.
Yeah, people get, I've seen very billion, I mean, people love fame. A lot of people, we get, it's like a drug, you know. It's very hard to leave it. In fact, I've had to, for my own sake, I've had to really like ask myself sometimes, कि मैं नशे में तो नहीं हूँ इसके, you know, and then to feel like you said, कि it will never come back. It just has been taken away from me. And I'm not even like, now people have, it's not even positive से neutral हुआ है, negative हो गया है. I'm the villain number 1.
Now how I see it is very differently than when I saw it while it was happening. Like I said, उस समय चीज़ें बहुत खतरनाक लगती हैं, बहुत बुरी लगती हैं. आपको बुरा लगता है, आपको ये भी लगता है कि मैं क्यों, मैंने ऐसा क्या कर दिया, मैं क्यों, मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है. लेकिन थोड़े वक्त के बाद आपको चीज़ें समझ में आने लगती हैं कि ये जो हम बना के रखते हैं अपनी ज़िंदगी के बारे में कि हम ही अपनी ज़िंदगी को गाइड कर रहे हैं. हमारा 5 year प्लान होता है, 10 year प्लान होता है, हम इस एज में शादी करेंगे, इस एज में बच्चे होंगे, ऐसा करियर होगा, वैसा होगा. ये सब बहुत स्टूपिड चीज़ है एक्चुअली, क्योंकि आपकी ज़िंदगी हो रही है. यू नो, दे से देयर इज अ सेइंग दैट लाइफ इज़ हैपनिंग टू यू व्हाइल यू आर बिजी प्लानिंग इट, राइट? तो ये जो इन चीज़ों की अंडरस्टैंडिंग मुझे मिली 2020 से कि यार यू नो व्हाट, अब तू प्लान मत कर, ना ही तो रेपुटेशन बना, तेरे को जैसी ज़िंदगी जीनी है तू जी, तेरे को जैसे कपड़े पहनने हैं पहन, तेरे को जो बोलना है तू बोल, अब इससे नीचे तो लेवल नहीं है। अब यहाँ से लोग तेरे को देख के कुछ मान भी लें तो पिछले वाले से तो अच्छा ही होगा। जो 2020 में मेरे बारे में सोचा होगा, हर इंसान ने किसी ना किसी पॉइंट पे एटलीस्ट सोचा होगा कि ये ऐसी है, ये चुड़ैल है, ये विशकन्या है, काला जादू करती है, या जो भी है, उससे तो लेवल ऊपर ही बढ़ेगी।
I'm sorry, I'm not a very Kala Jadoo expert, but let's talk about Kala Jadoo a bit. What is this Kala Jadoo, firstly? And it's a thing only women do? आदमी नहीं कर सकते, and that's what they say. I mean, अगर मैं 2 मिनट के लिए उस चीज़ को seriously ले भी लूँ, so what is the thing? Like, what Kala Jadoo? Do you know Kala Jadoo? What is Kala Jadoo?
I really wish I knew Kala Jadoo. Then I could have fixed a lot of things that are happening in my life or were happening in my life. उस समय ही मैं उनको वश में करके कंट्रोल कर लेती according to black magic. Personally, I think it's very sad कि हम हमारे देश में मानते भी हैं कि काला जादू औरतें करती हैं, जो काला जादू होता है और वो किसी मर्द को कंट्रोल कर लेती हैं. दिस कम्स फ्रॉम दैट वेरी ओल्डन टाइम्स की चुड़ैलें होती हैं और विष कन्याएँ होती हैं और ऐसी सिडक्ट्रेस होती है जो सुंदर नारी होती है, वो एक आदमी का दिमाग अपने वश में कर लेती है और वो कोई मंत्र फूंकती है. मतलब आदमी से भी पूछो, शायद उसको पसंद आई हो. यू नो, इट्स ऑलवेज कंसिडर्ड लाइक दैट. और ये मतलब कम से कम 200-300 सालों से ये चलता आ रहा है. Women have been burnt for this पुराने ज़मानों में. और आज की डेट में समथिंग लाइक व्हाट हैपेंड टू मी वुड बी द इक्विवेलेंट ऑफ व्हाट यूज्ड टू हैपन देन. पर काला जादू मेरे हिसाब से नहीं होता है, और अगर होता भी है तो आई विश आई न्यू इट.
Yeah, I would think that you would use it to get some lead roles in top films. Why were you doing a side role in Half Girlfriend?
सुपरस्टार नहीं बन जाती मैं, बड़ी बड़ी फिल्में करती.
और लोअर वर्जन काला जादू का अपग्रेड करना पड़ेगा आपको, थोड़ा एडवांस डिग्री थोड़ी.
बट वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन यू आस्क्ड कि व्हाई मेन डोंट डू काला जादू.
I don't know. Like you said, it's to something to do with beauty, I guess.
It's very fun.
Okay, I like to think of myself as a scientific, rational person. So मैं इतना इससे ज़्यादा काला जादू को indulge नहीं करूँगा. Tell me something. Did your parents, जैसे आपके पेरेंट्स आर्मी डॉक्टर थे, far away from show business, ऐसे कभी बोला इसीलिए मैं कहते थे कि फिल्म लाइन से दूर ही रहो, फिल्म लाइन तो है ही ख़राब, यहाँ तो ये, ऐसा कभी बोला पेरेंट्स ने, या दे काइंड ऑफ केप्ट सपोर्टिंग यू, दे सेड ये बोलना गलत होगा अभी?
They never made me feel कि मेरी कोई लाइफ चॉइसेस, करियर चॉइसेस के वजह से उनके ऊपर इतनी प्रॉब्लम्स आई हैं. They never ever
सेड कि क्या ज़रूरत थी ये सब करने की, नाचने गाने की, चुपचाप पढ़ती लिखती, शादी करती, बच्चे पैदा करती.
You know, strangely उन्होंने कभी नहीं कहा, because they knew what I was going through, right, and what they were going through. लेकिन लोगों ने कहा है ये मुझे, क्योंकि अनसॉलिसिटेड एडवाइस देने वाले तो बतेरे घूमते रहते हैं.
सब पार्क में बैठ के यही करते हैं, हाँ, कि क्या.
Actually, मैं जेल में थी, एक हमारा एग्जामिनेशन होता है बिफोर.
I have only in pre-arrest. I have to talk about jail.
टेल यू कि वहाँ की जो डॉक्टर थी, उन्होंने वो सब डू सम टेस्ट एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट, तो करते समय मुझे बोली कि अच्छा आपके पापा तो डॉक्टर हैं, आप क्यों नहीं बनी डॉक्टर, डॉक्टर बन जाती, ये सब ड्रामा नहीं होता, आज डॉक्टर होती.
That's a very Indian middle class way. When things go wrong in a line which is profession which is seen as very, you know, sketchy or whatever, like not sure, and especially for girls, and especially when this is happening, तो I think थोड़ा justified या बोला, हमने तो पहले ही कहा था
डॉक्टर बन जाओ, इंजीनियर बन जाओ. हम लाइक वही तो लड़ तोड़ के आ रहे थे हम, वही तो तोड़ना था कि सिर्फ डॉक्टर इंजीनियर ही नहीं होता है करियर, और भी कुछ चीज़ें हो सकती हैं.
So they never said this, and then the arrest is coming, and I'm sorry to be curious about this silly thing, but in a way मेरे को आज तक किसी ने बताया नहीं, मैं किसी how does it work, like you know कि arrest होने वाला है, do you pack your bags for jail, जैसे कहीं हम जाते हैं छुट्टी पे या शिफ्ट करते हैं, या you just kind of just go along, okay guys let's go, like how does it work?
देखो ऐसा नहीं होता. you don't get no bag, you don't get no packing, and you don't know कि कब होने वाला होता है. जब होना होता है तब हो जाता है. एंड एक्चुअली तो मुझे तो डिफरेंस भी नहीं पता था कि जो फिल्मों वाला जेल होता है वो अलग होता है, जो रियल लाइफ का अलग होता है. फिर एक जुडिशियल कस्टडी होती है और एक पुलिस कस्टडी होती है. पुलिस कस्टडी मतलब जो आप फिल्मों वगैरह में देखते हो कि थाने में लॉकअप, राइट. और एक जुडिशल कस्टडी होती है, मतलब वहाँ पे बहुत सारे लोग हैं, एक पूरा मतलब इंस्टीट्यूशन है जेल का, उसमें मतलब 700,000 लोग होंगे, उसमें सेल्स होते हैं, उसमें बड़े बड़े सेल्स होते हैं, डॉर्म रूम्स होते हैं.
There is a check-in,
Right.
like you check in,
um,
like they give you, like you have to give your Aadhaar card or something, or like how does it work?
so no, it's not that simple. I mean, there are lawyers involved. There is obviously a lot of procedure that happens. It's nothing like a hotel check-in, let me assure you of that.
I never, that's why I didn't use the word hotel, but there has to be a check-in process.
There is, they do check you. They do medical test. They check for your health, for your fitness. They check if you're carrying anything on your body, and then they put you in the cell or the dorm that you're going to be part of.
Were you crying? Were you panicking? Were you having panic attacks? Was your heart beating? Like what was happening to you, Rhea, then? Or were you calm? Or were you numb? I'm just very curious to know ki what is the mental state at that moment.
I think for me it was, I was very, to be honest, I was very angry by that point. I was very upset and angry.
You were wearing a t-shirt also. It's there in public.
Yeah.
Something it said.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Let's smash the patriarchy, me and you.
I don't want to get into a patriarchy discussion at all here, but I remember. So that was part of the anger.
I mean, that T-shirt just happened to be in my closet for over a year. The day I got arrested, I was leaving for my interrogation. I happened to open the cupboard and see that T-shirt, and it resonated with me. What was written on it, it felt like, yes, this is what I feel right now. This is what's happening to me. So I wore it. I never thought that it would be picked up and people would actually see meaning in it, and I'm glad they did. I'm glad they did, because sometimes when you are voiceless, other aspects of you speak. Other aspects that you have resonated with, that you've carried on you, speak for you. So yeah, I mean, there is no check-in process in jail, but you are nervous. I was angry, yet I was nervous. I was worried for my parents. I was worried for my brother. I was very unsure, right? You don't know what's going to happen next. Like your only understanding of jail is for what you've seen in the movies. तो पिक्चरों में जो देखा तो उसमें तो मार वगैरह पड़ती है, तो आप सोच रहे हो कि अब नहीं मार वार पड़ेगी, क्या होगा अंदर, like what's going to happen. So it's a lot of things. Like I would, कैसे मैं इसको describe करूँ?
Daytime you went?
In the daytime.
So what was the first day like? Now I come to that. You go there. What was there? You met your cellmates or?
No, you don't meet the people in jail instantly when you go. There's a procedure where, because this was COVID, I had to be in solitary for 14 days. That was the quarantine period, right? Otherwise, you can infect the entire jail. So I was put into solitary, and it was just me in one room, and I was asked if I want to eat the lunch that was being served there. I was really hungry. I was really tired. I had been on the hunt. I was being hunted for so many months that, it kind of became like, no, this is a stop.
It almost felt like a relief.
It almost felt like, okay, bus now.
At least you don't have a TV. You don't have internet. There's no phones. There's no internet, nothing.
No. There's no phone. There's no internet.
People do not want to stay without their phone for 1 hour these days. So this almost is one of the biggest parts of the punishment for people.
I mean, if there's, trust me, it's much more than that. The phone is the last thing you're going to miss.
How big was that room? 14 days.
I think about the size of this office. But a much higher ceiling.
Small office guys. So yeah.
A much higher ceiling though. And I remember the first day that I went there, I was so tired that I ate whatever was given to me.
What was given? Remember?
There was some roti and capsicum ki sabzi, which was just capsicum in water. But I didn't care about the food at that point.
Did it strike you that Rhea Chakraborty, तुम हीरोइन बनने निकली थी और ये क्या, this is happening, like this is not a short, I'm not taking a take here, this is my life. पानी वाले कैप्सिकम की सब्जी के साथ जेल की रोटी बैठ के खा रही हूँ अकेले. Did that come to you? Like what was that like?
थोड़ा वक्त लगा मुझे समझने में कि ये हो गया है. मतलब I don't think कि पहले दिन मुझे ये realization हुई. मुझे ऐसे लगा कि ये कोई मतलब नाइटमेयर है या कोई यू नो आई कांट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज़ गोइंग ऑन येट.
When did it hit you then?
I think it hit me 2-3 days after. हाँ, पहले तो मैं खा के बस सोई हूँ 12 घंटे. I was so tired, I just slept for 12 hours and I woke up again and I ate again and I slept again and you know I needed to recover from all the stress that was.
Bed? Proper bed?
No, there's no bed. You sleep on the floor, but
Like you've never slept on the floor in your life, I guess.
yeah, never.
So how was it? How are you able to sleep 12 hours?
पहले तो मतलब बैक दुखती है, पर अभी आप यू नो यू आई थिंक इन माई केस ऑल्सो जब बाहर की जब जब आपकी रियल लाइफ इतनी हार्ड हो जाती है तो यू वॉन्ट टू एस्केप when you because when I would sleep I would think I'm in my house.
You almost make jail sound like a peaceful relief because your real life was so terrible that you preferred that empty jail cell.
In a sense I did. मैंने जेल में एक डायरी रखी थी जो मैंने दूसरे तीसरे दिन से लिखना शुरू किया था और उसमें जो पहली लाइन मैंने लिखी है वो ये है कि पीपल इनसाइड आर मच बेटर देन पीपल आउटसाइड. क्योंकि एक सोसाइटल स्ट्रक्चर नहीं होता है जेल में, राइट? आप सोसाइटी आप सबको निकाल दिया गया है सोसाइटी से, आप अनफिट हो, मतलब आप सोसाइटी के लिए या तो डेंजरस हो, खतरनाक हो, या आप सोसाइटी को किसी वे में ख़राब कर रहे हो, तो आपको सोसाइटी वालों ने निकाल दिया है कि आप सोसाइटी के लायक नहीं हो, आप अकेले वहाँ बैठो उन लोग के साथ. तो एक अलग सा ही लिबरेशन है उन लोगों में. और जो मेरा जो जेल था वो अंडर ट्रायल प्रिजन है. अंडर ट्रायल प्रिजन वो होता है जहाँ पे कोई भी प्रूव नहीं किया गया, नो वन इज़ कन्विक्टेड, मतलब उनके मैटर्स ऑन गोइंग हैं. और अक्सर ऐसा होता है, मैं तो इनोसेंट अंटिल प्रूवन गिल्टी ही मानती हूँ और ऐसा ही लोगों को मानना चाहिए. विमेंस प्रिजन में तो 99% मेरे हिसाब से इनोसेंट ही होती हैं और वो 10 साल बाद उनका जब केस ख़त्म हो जाता है तो उनको इनोसेंट डिक्लेयर कर दिया जाता है और 10 साल वो जेल में गुजार के आ जाती हैं. तो उनमें एक अलग सा ही मतलब एक लिबरेशन है जहाँ पे कोई प्रिटेंड नहीं कर रहा है. क्योंकि ना उनकी कोई करियर्स है, ना उनको ये कोई सोसाइटी नहीं है कि हम दिखा रहे हैं कि हम कौन हैं,
कि मैं CEO हूँ, that I'm a star, you're a junior artist.
ये सब बिल्कुल नहीं है, सब सेम है.
Equality
है एक अलग ही तरह का. वो है कि आपको निकाल दिया गया है और हम सबको निकाल दिया गया है, लेकिन शायद सब ने कुछ किया नहीं, ज़्यादातर लोगों ने कुछ किया भी नहीं है, यू नो. और पता नहीं कब उनकी तारीख भी आएगी कोर्ट में और कब वो अपना मतलब जस्टिस भी ले पाएंगे और तब तक क्या उनको वो जस्टिस चाहिए भी होगा, ये वाले सवाल भी हैं कुछ लोगों के दिमाग में वहाँ पे कि अब तो 10 साल उनके हो गए हैं जेल में, वो इनोसेंट हैं. और अब एक को तो मिली भी थी मेरे सामने बेल, फाइनल रिलीफ कि आपने कुछ नहीं किया, आप जाइए. उनको 8 साल हो गए थे. शी वॉज अ 45-year-old वुमन, नाउ शी वॉज 53. हर फैमिली एंड चिल्ड्रन हैड ऑलरेडी डिसोन्ड हर. तो कह रही थी कि बाहर जाके करूँगी भी क्या. इसे अब शी सेड अब तो ये ही मेरे दोस्त हैं, मेरी दुनिया भी अलग है. तो मतलब कुछ अलग सा ही है. इट्स वेरी bizarre so to say, but it's a different world where people are not playing a part, where their masks have been either shattered or broken or removed by themselves, and where in a true sense they don't give a shit about what you think about them. आप जेल की बाहर वाली सोसाइटी की बात करें तो आज की डेट में हम सब केयर करते हैं कि हम कैसे लग रहे हैं. अच्छा, मैं आपके पॉडकास्ट में आई हूँ आज, मैं अब जो घर में टी शर्ट पहना था वो तो चेंज किया ना मैंने कहा मैं थोड़ा अच्छा कुछ पहनूं. मैं वो इयररिंग्स, आई वाज लाइक चलो मैं आई एम गोइंग टू बी ऑन हिज शो, आई शुड लुक नाइस.
You do look nice.
बाल ब्लो ड्राई कर आए, थैंक यू. पर आई एम सेइंग अगर आप जेल में होते हो तो ये सब चीज़ें नहीं होती हैं, ना एक्सेस है, ना आप केयर भी करते हो अब कि अब क्या ही सोच लें, अब हम सब यहीं हैं. तो एक अलग सी अंडरस्टैंडिंग मुझे धीरे धीरे आने लगी while I was inside.
After the quarantine is, I guess, the first time you met other people in jail. Other under trials or whatever.
Right.
How did they meet you? Like they obviously recognized you. They said like it's not every day that a heroine walks into jail.
Correct.
So what was that like?
So there is a TV screen, एक TV होता है जो एक बड़ा डॉम टाइप होता है उसमें, जहाँ पे सारे लोग एक साथ बैठे होते हैं. और वो टीवी पे तो सब मेरा ही आ रहा होता था, राइट. बट व्हाट द जेल अथॉरिटीज़ डू टू प्रोटेक्ट द पर्सन हु इज़ गोइंग थ्रू मीडिया ट्रायल, वो उनके न्यूज़पेपर कटिंग्स नहीं आने देते हैं जेल के अंदर, वो उनको एक्सपोज नहीं करते हैं बिकॉज मेंटली इट कैन बी वेरी टैक्सिंग एंड पीपल कैन हार्म देमसेल्व्स और ट्राई टू हार्म देमसेल्व्स. तो मुझे दूर रखते थे इन सब चीज़ों से, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं कुछ ना कुछ लोगों में बहुत इंटरेस्ट था। ज़्यादातर सब बहुत वार्म थे मेरे तरफ, क्योंकि जिनके साथ ऐसा कुछ हुआ है वो समझ पाते हैं, और जो जो जेल में होता है उसको बड़े जल्दी समझ में आ जाता है कि इनोसेंट कौन है और कौन नहीं है। वो उनको एक एक मिनट में पता चल जाता है। और जब तक बंदा जेल पहुंचता है, जैसे कि जो विमेन्स अंडर ट्रायल प्रिजन है, जिसने किया है वो तो बोलती है। मतलब एक लेडी थी, उनका हस्बैंड उसको सोडोमाइज करता था 7 साल से। वो 7 फुट का हॉकी प्लेयर था, वो 5 फुट की थी। 7-8 साल शी वॉज टॉर्चर्ड। एक दिन शी एक्चुअली सेल्फ डिफेंस में उन्होंने शी किल्ड हिम। शी कन्फेस टू कोर्ट। उन्होंने ही पुलिस को बुलाया कि ऐसा ऐसा हुआ, सेल्फ डिफेंस में मैंने ये किया है, प्लीज़ कम एंड टेक मी। अब वो 10 साल से अंदर ही हैं। टेक्निकली उनकी सेंटेंस 7 साल की होती, लेकिन वो 10 साल से अंदर ही हैं। और बाकी मेजॉरिटी ऑफ देम हैव बिन पुट इन रॉन्गली। तो ये जो सेंटिमेंट है कि वो देख लेते हैं, मतलब वो न्यूज़ के पीछे की बात देख पाते हैं। वो नॉर्मल सोसाइटी की तरह नहीं है जो अगर एक जर्नलिस्ट चिल्ला चिल्ला के तेज़ आवाज़ में कुछ चीज़ ज़्यादा बोल दे तो उनकी बात मान ले। उनका अपना दिमाग भी चल रहा है, वो कंडीशनिंग से थोड़े परे हैं। तो दे वर वेरी एक्चुअली वार्म टू मी। दे वर वेरी लाइक, दे अंडरस्टूड दैट इट्स, मेरा जो वर्ल्ड था जेल के अंदर आने से पहले वो काफ़ी डिफरेंट हुआ होगा। So they would try to make me feel better in small ways, and it is a sort of a community in a sense where you know कि अच्छा यार उसकी बेल की हियरिंग थी, उसका नहीं हुआ, तो जो बाकी लेडीज़ होती हैं वो उसको जाके बताती हैं कि यार कोई बात नहीं, तू फिर से ट्राई कर। जैसे कि जिस दिन मेरी बेल हुई थी, मेरे भाई की बेल नहीं हुई थी, and that was the only day that I broke down in jail, and
The whole month you never cried.
I never cried.
You never cried. Never felt alone.
I felt all of that.
You felt like you're alone, dark at night. You're there.
वो जेल में लाइट नहीं बंद करते।
But still, even I'm just saying, you can feel, okay, but you can feel very like, it can get to you.
No, it did get to me. If I have to be honest, I had very dark days in my mind, in my heart.
Like, what were you going through? I'm asking you, Rhea, not because someone else watching this, not in the same situation, but life का कोई बहुत मुश्किल दौर किसी का गुजर रहा हो सकता है. And they may be feeling a lot of things. I want them to also know you also felt the same things. It wasn't just like Rhea. Today's Rhea looks like you've like coming to, you are able to talk about those memories आराम से. There would have been a time आप बात भी नहीं कर पाते उस बारे में. So, but if you were to go back and think at that point when it got to you, how bad was it? What was it like? What would you feel?
I think what happens is your mind is such a place जहाँ पे जो नेगेटिव थॉट्स होते हैं वो उसको डाउनवर्ड स्पाइरल बोलते हैं। स्पाइरल इसलिए बोलते हैं क्योंकि it takes one negative thought, goes to the other, goes to the other, goes to the other, and before you know it, it's a spiral and you're like at the rock bottom of the most negative thought that you can ever think, right? So that did start happening to me on the day 2 and day 3 when I realized ki, oh my god.
Bottom of the spiral for you.
The bottom is you try and figure out how you don't want to live this life. So what is a way to like escape from this body, because there's so much pain in this body, right? Which is the darkest thought that comes to any human being, I think, is taking their own life. Of course, that thought has come to me many times in 2020. But at the...
You said once separately that even your entire family felt that they should do that.
It is unimaginable.
When did that happen? Like how?
I mean, pre us, me and my brother getting arrested, it was just so difficult to live. It was difficult to breathe. I remember one of my brother's friends had sent us Cheetos. एक कोई चीज़ Cheetos करके कुछ डिश है. ऐसे ही हमारा मतलब दिन बेटर करने के इतना कुछ चल रहा है, कोई आ नहीं पा रहा है हमारे घर में, तो उसने भेजा था एक स्विगी डिलीवरी. उस बंदे को भी रोक लिया, वो टीवी पे दिखा दिया. हम लोग घर पे बैठे हुए हैं, हम लोग अपने स्विगी ऑर्डर का वेट कर रहे हैं कि हमारी फ्रेंड ने भेजा है कुछ, और हम टीवी पे देख रहे हैं कि दैट गाय हैज़ बीइंग हरास्ड. तो मतलब ऐसा लग रहा था कि अब हम खाना भी ना खाएं. लाइक वो भी एक क्राइम है. मतलब हमारे चीटोस में भी प्रॉब्लम है आपको.
Remember the dish?
And they picked up the Cheetos. They made him open the box. They took out each Cheeto and they saw what it is and they put it back, and obviously we didn't take it thereafter, neither did he come into the house. But that moment just made you feel like, अच्छा अब खाने में भी प्रॉब्लम है, जीने में भी प्रॉब्लम है, तो अब क्या ही करें फिर. मतलब अगर हमारे घर में खाना भी डिलीवर नहीं हो सकता, जो हमारे कोई दोस्त के दोस्त भिजवा रहा है, तो हम अब क्या करें. So you have, it's very natural to think that way when the pain gets beyond a point. Right? Now, how do you come back from that pain? How do you pull yourself back? For me, I felt that it's a fall. Like think of it as an empty, the whole planet from the atmosphere, the sky to the earth is empty, black. And it's a void, and you're just falling. In slow motion, you're falling down, and the rock bottom is the end of your life, right? I feel like in that fall, if you can replace, there'll be 100 negative thoughts. If you can start replacing one negative thought with one good memory or one good thing from your life.
Okay. So give me an example. Like,
say you're thinking 10 bad things. Ki, my life is really bad. I don't want to live. I don't know what's going to happen now. My parents are, what's going to happen to my parents? How will I live? Da 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 da. If you can stop one thought, you can witness it happening to you, which we all do. We can pull out that one thought and say, but 1 second, I also really love my mom, yaar. I also really enjoy eating palak paneer made in my house. I also actually have a very nice friend, you know. This girl, she's my friend. She really loves me. When I hang out with her, I feel good. So like, is that worth fighting for? And it's usually the smaller things that are worth fighting for, and that one remembers and one cherishes the most. आप कितने भी पैसे कमा लो, आप कितने भी फेमस हो जाओ, the most important thing to you will be probably your kids.
yes.
To me will probably be my brother or my parents. To someone will be something like that. The last thing you think about will not be your bank balance, will not be this podcast. It will be something closer to you. So if you can bring that thought, which I started trying to bring, and sometimes it's hard because you're fighting with yourself. It's you versus you. It's the negative you versus the positive you. Therapy में से बोलते red dog, blue dog. So the red dog that feeds the bad stuff, and the blue dog that feeds the positive affirmation. How they quarrel, and how you have to keep that voice feeding of the blue dog. वो बहुत ज़रूरी है. अपने आप से बात करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. अपने आप को ये कह पाना कि चाहे दुनिया भी तेरे साथ नहीं है, चाहे कोई नहीं है इस वक्त, but you have you. You have yourself. At every given point, you have yourself. And actually, if you go down to the truth of it, you only have yourself, right? From the time that you are born till the time you go, everyone else comes and becomes part of your journey and your story. But you come alone and you go alone. And that is the harsh reality of life. And when you accept that, not in a jaded, cynical way, but in a way that, oh, but I have me. For example, I can be there for you if you're my friend going through something. Why can't I be there for myself? अगर मेरे पे कोई चीज़ हो रही है, अगर मैं किसी चीज़ से गुजर रही हूँ, तो जो मैं अपने दोस्त के लिए कर सकती हूँ, वो अपने लिए क्यों नहीं कर सकती हूँ? So I started doing that. I started becoming a friend to myself because there was no other option. Not that I'm completely crazy that I was playing a role. I started talking to myself and I started telling myself, मैं हूँ ना तेरे साथ.
You would actually say that
I
aloud.
would actually say that loud. I would say, मैं हूँ ना तेरे साथ. टेंशन मत ले, चल कर लेंगे, जो भी है सह लेंगे. Because that's the thing, you have to remind yourself that in the end, it's worth it.
But you were alone in jail and talking to yourself saying this.
Yeah, I still do.
Yeah?
If I have a rough day, I still have that conversation with myself. I think self-talk is the most underrated thing. People don't do it enough. I think just telling yourself that you got your own back, telling yourself that nothing else matters but you and the strength that you have, and we all have. People often come up to me and say, you're so strong and this and that. And I'm like, you are also strong. You didn't get tested, so we don't know your strength. But had you gotten tested, maybe you would have come out even better than me. We don't know.
I was going to say, like, when I remember I saw you in New York and with the other gang and all that, I couldn't have thought you to be talking such wisdom, if I can say, of self-realization, self-talk, positive affirmation, whatever. You were talking about shopping and New York restaurants and pubs and partying, and rightfully so. You were young and, you're still young. And now, like, look at you, really like grown, like as a mentally.
I think that trauma is an accelerator, you know. Like, I often feel that people who have been through something in life are like far more interesting to talk to because they somewhere break away from everything that they were pretending to be, right? They somewhere touch some inner depths of themselves. They get that perspective on life that we don't often have when we've not been through life. That's why older people are wiser, right? Because they've been through that much more. So I find that very fascinating myself, that my life prior to this was so different. My hopes and dreams and ambitions were so different. The things that excited me were so different. The things that hurt me were so different. I'm a different person for it, and I think that I would proudly say this, that I am better for it today. Like, I'm a better version of myself, and I have not reached here easily. It's not been rosy at all, to say the least. But the only way to get through it was to go through it. Like, I didn't take any shortcut. I didn't decide to escape it. You know, you can also choose the Devdas route where you become a drunk and escape your life till one day it hits you. You can decide to just not ever talk about it and, you know, just live your life in a bubble now away from this. Or you can choose to actually deal with it. Like, I chose therapy. I did therapy every single week. I still do it. I wanted to break down everything with a professional because the level of the trauma that I went through, चार दोस्तों से बात करके मन ज़रूर हल्का होता है, लेकिन उसका जो एक साइंटिफिक अप्रोच होता है टू अंडरस्टैंड अच्छा आपके साथ क्या हुआ है और उसके क्या रेपरकशंस आपके लाइफ में अभी हो रहे हैं और क्या बाद में आएंगे, वो बहुत ज़रूरी है. एंड आई थिंक वहीं मतलब काफ़ी लोग मात खा जाते हैं where they don't actually go into that.
I want to talk about therapy in general, but what was the darkest moment for you in jail? Whatever you want to share.
I think that एक वक्त आया था where I realized that now it's so negative in my head. I'm losing hope. I'm losing hope of when am I going to go home? When am I going to see my brother? Like, ये कैसे होगा? Like, it just seems so difficult and impossible for it to ever happen. Like, for me to be normal again seems like ये नहीं हो सकता है, you know. And the negative side of my brain is constantly telling me कि हाँ नहीं होगा, नहीं होने वाला है ये, कोई सवाल ही नहीं है, तू नॉर्मल जिंदगी नहीं जी पाएगी इसके बाद. And I'll be very honest. I used to obviously pray to God, or like whatever I believe in is that higher power, and be like, just give me a direction, give me some way, some answer, something, some sign that I can hold on to. मतलब मुझे कोई मतलब बता दो, like just give me the reason कि ये क्या है ये, you know, like I'm confused, मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा है कि क्या करूँ मैं. And I remember that day I was allowed to go, this was somewhere in the middle, like around the 13th, 14th day, I was allowed to go out to the library and get a book. वो एक library होती है जेल में छोटी सी. And I entered the library and there was this book that fell on me. And I am so desperate at this point, I'm like really looking for a sign. And as it falls on me only, I'm like, इसमें ही कुछ है. So I pick up that book, and strangely enough, it is Paramahansa Yogananda ji's book, and I'm a fan of his. I've read Autobiography of Yogi before going to jail. And I open the book and I tell myself कि अब इसमें जो भी लिखा होगा वही जवाब है. Like, this is the answer from God, or this is a direction from the universe. अब जो खुलेगा वो है. And I open some random page in the middle, and the two lines that are there on the top is, we are all actors in God's play, so don't take it personally. And I read it. And I shut it again, and I open it again, and I read it again. Like, we are all actors in God's play, don't take it personally. I'm like, oh, इस फिल्म की डायरेक्टर मैं हुई ही नहीं. राइट, मैं डायरेक्ट नहीं कर रही हूँ, तो मैं पागल क्यों कर रही हूँ अपने आप को? Why am I beating myself over it? I think I read that quote 50, 60, 100 times in that one day, in 2 hours. I kept opening it, I kept reading it. I'm like, yeah, this is the sign. And it really helped me understand something larger. we see our lives as the central point of the world, right? आप पूरी दुनिया को अपनी प्रिज्म से देखते हो और अपनी लाइफ से मापते हो, तोलते हो, मैं भी. अगर एक सेकंड के लिए आप ये समझो कि आप ये ह्यूमिलिटी ले आओ अपने अंदर, जो मुझे इस दिन समझ आया कि यार इसमें तो कमी किसी और चीज़ की नहीं है, ह्यूमिलिटी की है. ये तुम्हारी बात ही नहीं है रिया. इट्स नॉट अबाउट यू. इट इज़ समथिंग लार्जर. तुमको आज समझ नहीं आ रहा है वॉट दैट लार्जर थिंग इज. देर इज़ अ लार्जर प्ले हैपनिंग फॉर विच यू आर अ स्पोक इन द व्हील. You are not the chariot. You are a spoke in the wheel. That's small. So why are you then beating yourself up? कि ये chariot कहाँ जा रहा है? You don't know. तुम तो spoke हो. अब जहाँ chariot जाएगा वहाँ तुम्हें जाना है. तुम्हारा काम क्या है? कि तुम अपना काम करते रहो. हर बार जब वो चक्रा चले तुम भी चलो. जब रुके तुम भी रुको. तुम नहीं हो chariot. तो अपने आप को ये संकट में मत डालो कि भाई क्या ये कहाँ पहुँच गए हम. तुम नहीं लाई हो अपने आप को यहाँ पे. सो दैट प्रेशर वेंट ऑफ ऑफ मी दैट इट इज़ अबाउट मी और आई हैव कॉज दिस टू माई लाइफ इन सम वे और वाई मी और अब मेरा क्या होगा एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट फिनिश्ड. एंड आई वॉज जस्ट लाइक ओके, लेट्स एक्सपीरियंस वॉट इज हैपनिंग इन दिस मोमेंट बिकॉज दिस इज द ओनली मोमेंट दैट आई हैव right in my life. And then I started realizing, then as the positive started picking up, I started realizing that like I started getting grateful seeing कि अंदर इतने लोग हैं जिनकी परिवार भी नहीं है बाहर जो उनकी हेल्प करें, या उनके पास बेल के भी 5-10 हज़ार रुपये भी ना उनके लिए कोई भर पाए. अच्छा, तुम्हारी तो फैमिली है, दोस्त हैं, और मतलब यू विल गेट द जस्टिस, यू विल गेट बेल, यू हैव नॉट डन एनीथिंग, यू आर गोइंग टू गेट आउट ऑफ जेल. एंड देन आई रियलाइज दैट man, I have so much to learn from these women while I'm here. Like, why am I wasting my time sulking about what is not in my control? Why don't I learn from these women? Why don't I spend time with them? Why don't I speak to them about their life experiences? People have been in there for 10 years, 12 years, innocent people. Why don't I learn how they have survived? That's the epitome of survival, right? कि आपको पता ही है कि कोई होप ही ना है, लेकिन तो भी आप हंस लो, तो भी आप खुश हो, तो भी आप जी जाओ. मतलब वो अलग जीना होता है. सो आई वॉज एबल टू देन टेक द अटेंशन ऑफ माई लाइफ ऑफ ऑफ मी एंड लिव विथ एवरीबडी एल्स एंड सी व्हाट्स हैपनिंग इन देयर लाइफ्स, विच इज लिविंग इन द मोमेंट, विच इज द मोस्ट important thing for anyone who goes through anxiety or depression, and I have gone through my fair share of it, to come back to the moment. Anxiety is the fear of the future, and depression is being stuck in the past. So if you stay in the middle, which is now and which is all that exists, your past is over and your future does not exist. So all you have is this. If you keep coming back to it, and I think उसका सबसे अच्छा hack ये है कि आप curiosity पकड़ के दूसरे इंसान की बात समझो. अगर like a child, a child is always happy most of the times because they're curious. ये क्या है, ये रूम क्या है, ये माइक क्या है, ये लाइट क्या है, अच्छा ये बुक है, ये क्या, we lose that as we grow up. we पता ही है, अच्छा ये ग्रास है, अच्छा चेतन भगत हैज़ अ पॉडकास्ट, इट्स कॉल्ड डीप टॉक, अच्छा उसका ये है. वी फॉरगेट. इफ वी हैव टू रिमाइंड आवरसेल्व्स दैट ओके, दैट क्यूरियोसिटी इज देयर इन मी, इट वाज देयर फॉर माय एंटायर चाइल्डहुड, इफ आई ब्रिंग दैट बैक अगेन, then you will survive anything. Because even in a prison cell you will be curious about how the other people live, or you will be curious about why a certain person laughs in a certain way despite going through so much tragedy. How are they smiling? When you start making your life about how other people are doing it, I think then you can understand the why of your own life. Like, I think we make that mistake where we start questioning the why first without realizing कि हमने तो एक main सवाल पूछा ही नहीं, how did this person do this, how did that, इतना कुछ है around us. But we're not able to get out of our own minds. We're not able to get out of our own lives. Because as human beings, we are self-centered. Especially actors.
Yeah. In fact, like so the party girl Rhea became wise girl Rhea, and now I'm seeing also became spiritual Rhea. Right? This is what you talk of present moment, yogis, reading spiritual quotes. It's all part of spiritual. Did you ever feel, आपको ऐसे कभी लगा कि जो मेरी पहले कुछ दोस्त थे, नॉट ऑल, यू हैव सम वेरी क्लोज फ्रेंड्स ऑल्सो, बट स्पेशली इंडस्ट्री के, you know, those air kissing, those parties where, you know, mua mua, you've been in your fair share of those. When you this was going through you, did you realize कि वो कितना fake था या क्या था वो, like what was that? And it still is there.
Yeah, I think that even today, like I would never say that I am either a party girl or a spiritual girl or a wise girl. I am still all. I was still all then. I'm still all now, and all of us are. Like we have different facets and we have different sides. Do I like hate going to filmy parties? No, I don't. If the host is my friend and if I know a few people there, in fact, once or twice a year when these parties happen, I quite enjoy myself. I like meeting everybody, seeing what's happening. They're also human beings at the end of the day. And forget just filmy party, any social gathering, there is a certain pretense that every human being brings. We all bring our mask. We all talk in a certain
पार्टी में होता है ये, हाँ.
right, we dress a certain way, we want to put our best foot forward and we become more polite. अब घर में तो अपने भाई बहन से ऐसे नहीं बात करते ना, like पानी लेके आ यार, but when you go to parties like, can I have a glass of water please? It changes.
Sparkling.
Yes, exactly, right. घर में कौन सा sparkling पानी पीते हैं? Correct.
Water or water with chata.
Correct. So that is that realization has happened that okay, that's a part we human beings play, and that is important because ultimately we live in a society. A lot of people get very jaded by this कि हाँ यार सब बड़े fake हैं. से पर तुम भी fake हो. और फेक की बात नहीं है, तुम्हारा एक अगर आप मंदिर में जाते हो तो आप चप्पल बाहर उतारते हो, राइट? अगर मैं आपके पॉडकास्ट में पजामा पहन के आई तो आपको बुरा नहीं लगेगा? मैं आपकी डिसरिस्पेक्ट कर रही हूँ ना? फिर आप मेरे लिए तैयार हुए हो, आप अपने अपने व्यूअर्स के लिए तैयार हुए हो, तो हम व्यूअर्स को भी थोड़ी रिस्पेक्ट देंगे ना कि यार आप हमें देख रहे हो तो हम भी अच्छा दिखना चाहते हैं आपके लिए. तो वही पार्टीज में होता है. सो आई वुड से दैट my life has changed a lot and I enjoy different things, but I'm curious at a party. Like I said, I caught hold to curiosity. So even if I'm not talking to anyone at a party, I'm actually quite entertained because मैं देख रही हूँ कि अच्छा इनका बॉडी लैंग्वेज कैसे चेंज हो रहा है, अच्छा ये एक्साइट हो रही हैं, अच्छा आमिर खान या सलमान खान आए और पूरी पार्टी की बॉडी लैंग्वेज बदल गई, दे वांट टू टॉक टू देम. अच्छा अब सब लोग उनसे बात करना चाह रहे हैं, उनको उनका अटेंशन लेना चाह रहे हैं. It's very interesting to see how human beings act. There's something called a photon in a double slit experiment. It's very interesting. It's basically a photon is a light particle. When a light particle is being viewed versus it's not being viewed, it acts differently. When it's passed through a certain kind of wave, sometimes it becomes a wave and sometimes it acts as a particle. So जब आप उसे देख रहे होते हो तो वो अलग बिहेव करता है और जब आप उसे नहीं देख रहे होते हो वो अलग बिहेव करता है. Just like human beings.
Oh, that's what that phrase means. That was someone's status.
That was someone's status, yes.
I remember, and I didn't understand. So now we have a scientific Rhea also.
I'm not scientific.
Photons and everyone. Okay. And you obviously, then your bail came through. You came out. Did things start getting better from then? या उसके बाद भी the heat was still there?
So, the day I came out, I had to give my attendance at the police station for 10 days.
Every day?
Every day for 10 days.
Before we leave jail, what was the food like rest of the month and what are the bathrooms like?
Then it's not a bathroom. It's in your own, जहाँ पे आप सोते हो उसके बगल में ही होता है. It's obviously not the best. It's one of the hardest parts about being in jail. It's just
and how did you deal with it? It was fine. You were like
the mental trauma is so much harder that the physical trauma starts paling in front of that. तो आपको लगने लगता है कि ये सारी चीज़ें ये तो कम बुरी हैं. तो ये तो मैं कर लूँ, ये गंदा बाथरूम में मैनेज कर लूँ, या मैं खाना ना भी खाऊँ, या जो भी मिल रहा है.
Under trial jails have canteens and all. Are they a little different from the regular jails? Like prisoners have some rights? I heard.
There is a small canteen. वहाँ आपको बिस्किट मिलती है, कभी कभी चना वना भी मिल जाएगा. You get a money order from your family of 5,000 rupees a month.
Okay, so you have to manage in that.
You have to manage in that. उसमें पानी भी आप खरीद सकते हो. जिसमें सारा 2500 तो उसमें चला जाता था. तो 2500 में अगर
And I'm assuming there's no still or sparkling happening there.
no, just regular water which you can buy, like which is better than the water from the tap, right? And you get
You can't get home food.
no, you can't get home food unless you're really sick and the doctor has prescribed it. उसके लिए court order लगता है. No, but you can't get home food. You can just eat what's given to you.
And they give it 3 times a day or 2 times a day?
So you get breakfast at 6 a.m. That's when the gates open. After Bandi, which is when they open you out of your cell. Then you get lunch at around 11 and you get dinner at 2 p.m. because it goes with the British way of things. Also, and they lock you at like 5 o'clock again. Like from 5 p.m. to 6 a.m., then everyone has to be inside. Till then, you can go out and shower if you want to use the library. And
There's a courtyard kind of like
there's a courtyard kind of thing and all of that. So you have most people they save their dinner from 2 बजे और रात को खाते हैं फिर 7-8 बजे. I तो changed my whole cycle. I said ये खाना तो ऐसे खाया नहीं जाएगा, गरम तो खाया भी जाएगा, ठंडा तो खाया नहीं जाएगा. So I started waking up at 4 a.m. and finishing my dinner by 2 p.m. Like changing my cycle like that. But it's very interesting because in a way you are living a life without phones, without any external distractions. You're eating just do waqt ki roti. There's no TV, there's no drama, there's nothing. And you are, I started waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning and meditating because I needed to find peace, praying, trying to do yoga over there, trying to make people do yoga over there.
lawyer and get updates on what's happening with your bail and all that.
So you get a lawyer call. If it's important, then it could be on any day. But if it's not important, then you can get it once a week. That's it. And you see, because it was COVID, nahi to you can meet your family also. You can get a video call when your number will come. Jab number lagega. So then you are able to speak to your parents.
But if the lawyer just tells you, इस हफ्ते तो नहीं हो रहा, then you just know that it's like now not happening for a while. So you come back disappointed. Or
See, it's like when you have a bail hearing date, it's like everyone in the jail is rooting for you कि यार इसको मिल जाए, इस बार मिल जाएगा. And people are like, I think I've heard good things about this judge कि ये मतलब जो innocent होते हैं उनको they give bail. All of that starts coming in they start talking कि यार ये judge बहुत खड़ूस है, ये किसी को bail नहीं देता. Like that all stuff starts happening inside the cells. They start talking. And then the crescendo builds, and again, then if you get it, then amazing. But if you don't get it, then you know कि अब 10-15 दिन तो कहीं नहीं गए. 10-15 दिन और है till your next hearing can happen. And that too, mine being a media sensitive case, as much as the media harmed me, I never thought I would say this. The only positive aspect of having media glare is that things move faster because people are waiting for answers. Yeah. So if there is one positive and there's one only, then that's this.
and when the bail thing came, like what happened? Like you actually say bye to people you knew, or like how does that work, or they just come and take you?
So for me, like I had promised all the girls in the jail that I will dance for you all the day I get bail. Because they were like, "Aap heroine ho, naach ke batao." And all.
Really? Have you told anyone this? I have not heard this.
I did. I think I did. I don't know if I said it at India Today Conclave. And then I was like very broken because my brother didn't get bail. So I was quite heartbroken at that point. So the jailer came up to me and she said, I've told them you won't dance. You are visibly shaken. Just go home. And as she was walking, I was like, you know what? No, wait. Actually, I want to. I want to dance for them because when am I going to see these women again? Like, and if I can give them a little bit of happiness in their otherwise hopeless lives, I want to give them. So I danced for them. I did the full-on like Nagin dance with them. We were on the floor. Nagin gin 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 करके कोई गाना बज रहा था उस time पे. We danced on the floor. Everyone came and did like a dance performance with me. And they were so happy. I was going home. They were like, at least you're going home. Just be happy and like, just have a good life. You know that these people want everyone to actually go out.
And then he came out, and did things start getting better like what I asked earlier, और धीरे धीरे चीजें improve हुई या उस time भी खराब ही था?
Like I said, when I came out, I had to give my attendance at the police station. And I remember my dad said, I'll come with you. And my dad took me. We sat and we were going on my way to the police station. And we finished giving the attention और हम वहाँ से निकल रहे थे. And we were used to being mobbed. We were used to कि हमारी गाड़ी निकलेगी तो मीडिया और लोग और चढ़ जाते थे गाड़ी के ऊपर. और मेरा सिस्टम ऐसा हो गया था कि मेरे कान बंद हो जाते थे. लाइक आई कुडंट हियर. अगर मतलब लोग चलाना शुरू करते थे मेरे को सुनाई नहीं देता था फिर. लाइक यू नो जैसे फिल्मों में नहीं दिखाते कि साइलेंस दैट यूज्ड टू हैपन टू मी. सो वी वर लीविंग द पुलिस स्टेशन एंड पीपल वर बैंगिंग ऑन द कार. लाइक सो आई कुडंट हियर. And there was this one guy stand in the front of my car. He was banging on the the front windscreen, and he's saying something like this, like heart. And we are just like ignoring. And then I look closely and I look at my dad. My dad looks at me. He's like, "Ye kya bol raha hai?" And he's like, and then I can suddenly start hearing him because I'm trying to hear him. He's like, "I love you. I'm with you. Don't give up. Fight." And I look at my dad and I look at him like, oh my God. Like I get goosebumps till date when I think of that moment. And me and my dad are really confused. And I'm like, is he saying he loves us? Is he saying that he's with us? I'm like, Dad, when did this happen? He's like, I don't know. So there was also that side. I was watching this stand-up special of Veer Das. And he said one thing that really resonated with me. He said that hate is yelled, but love is felt. So, when I came out of this, so many people used to come up to me. आज भी कभी-कभी लोग मुझे मिलके रोने लग जाते हैं कि how are you and I really felt for you or things like that. And in my mind I used to be like कि तुम लोग कहाँ थे फिर जब इतना कुछ हो रहा था तो किसी ने क्यों नहीं बोला अब बड़ा प्यार आ रहा है सबको. But then when I heard Veer Das saying what he said, it really makes a lot of sense. क्योंकि when you have hate, you are yelling it. लेकिन जिसको feel हो रहा है कि यार I feel for this person, I love this person, I want to support them, वो एक feeling होती है. वो yelling में या mob में convert नहीं होती अक्सर. So that's the kind of sentiment that was there. There was this loud hate simultaneously in my life with this very deep, resonant feeling that I was getting from real people in real time of solidarity and love. So it was a strange dichotomy to be part of as a human being, as a young person. Like how can you see the both the extreme sides of humanity parallel? And that's where we were when I came out of jail. Like that's the point that I realized that okay,
there is a slight glimmer of hope. There is a slight some love also in all this hate and yelling and noise. There is some people who get you.
I was like, just focus on that. Even before I got arrested, there were lots of my friends that vanished. लोग गायब हो जाते हैं ना जब तकलीफ आती है आपकी ज़िंदगी में. Friend in need is a friend indeed.
They just don't want to get involved. They don't want to get dragged into it or whatever, right?
But I had at one point I had one friend. शिबानी डांडेकर. वो एक थी मेरे साथ और वो एक से मुझे ऐसे मतलब इतना कॉन्फिडेंस आता था कि यार आई कैन फाइट एनीथिंग, आई कैन विन एनी बैटल, आई एम नॉट अलोन.
Do you owe her a lot in terms of you getting okay?
I don't think that I think I've learned the meaning of friendship from her. What is true friendship is that like she is the epitome of that for me. And just having her on my side, and like everyone has that one friend, and when you're tough times you come to know who that friend is. That's enough. हमको लगता है हमारे बड़े दोस्त हैं, मतलब 10-15 दो, मैं पॉपुलर हूँ, मैं फेमस हूँ, मैं पार्टीज में जाता हूँ तो सब मुझे हाय हेलो बोलते हैं. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. आपके अगर इस फिंगर से ज़्यादा आपको लगते हैं, 5 फिंगर से ज़्यादा आपके दोस्त हैं तो आप गलत फहमी में हो.
तो इतने फ्रेंड्स होते हैं ना फेसबुक में, तो बी माई फेसबुक फ्रेंड, सो यू कैन लिटरली हैव हंड्रेड्स, बट आई थिंक 3 is an achievement in life.
1 is great. एक ही बहुत है. मेरे तो 4-5 हैं, मतलब मैं तो बहुत ही लकी हूँ. मेरे तो ट्राइड एंड टेस्टेड हो गए ना, मतलब दे वेंट थ्रू द ट्रॉमा विथ मी. मेरी 4-5 लड़कियों की आर्मी थी. इट वॉज अस अगेंस्ट द वर्ल्ड एंड वो खड़े रहे मेरे और मेरी फैमिली के साथ.
I don't know if I was not following it 100%, but I think over time, like happens with any news item in this world, the story just died. And it just kind of went away. The heat went away from you, and then there was a path to recovery for you. Am I analyzing it correctly? Is that how it happened?
Yeah, it's like जब allegations लगते हैं तो मतलब सारी दुनिया सुनती है, और जब मतलब कोर्ट ऑर्डर में लिखा होता है कि इसने कुछ किया नहीं इसलिए हम उसको बेल दे रहे हैं तो कोई नहीं सुनता. तो तब नहीं चिल्ला चिल्ला के जर्नलिस्ट बोलते कि शी वॉज इनोसेंट, ये नहीं बोलते हैं. शी वॉज रॉन्ग ही बोलते हैं, राइट. तो हाँ, उसके बाद इट्स लाइक सर्कस खत्म हो गया, बंदर इंजर्ड है, बंदर वहीं पड़ा हुआ है, यू नो, बंदर में हूँ, लाइक you're just there. And then is when it actually hits you, because you know the drama is over, the adrenaline has gone down, you're no longer fighting, but now you've only fought for 6-8 months, so you don't know like anything else. You know that you have to fight to survive, but like now it's over and you're like standing there like what do you...
Still alert, your brain is still in that, you know, warrior mode, like charged.
Yes, it's called the reptilian brain actually, that gets activated in survival mode. For any of us, we have that part, and if it gets activated and for a prolonged period of time it remains activated, then you have to calm your central nervous system down through lifestyle changes, and it's a long process.
Long process.
It took me,
चलो हो गया सो जाओ, नहीं, it stays like that.
and it stays in your life for the rest of your life. Today you and I are sitting here still talking about it, right? Wherever I go, it becomes a point of conversation. Everyone wants to know, this is the thing that they are most curious about, this is the thing that they want to talk about, so it remains in your life, right?
But I was most curious about what you went through and the mental states, because I have a lot of interest through my motivational work that I do. I run more than 500 motivational talks. There are more than 1,000 motivation videos here. And I didn't want to just do ha kar lenge, believe in yourself type of motivation. I tried to get into the neuroscience of it, and trauma, like you keep referring to, and I do think what you went through was deep, prolonged trauma. आजकल लोग हर टर्म ऐसे like ट्रैफिक में फंस जाते हैं तो कहते हैं I'm traumatized, but trauma has a very deep psychological meaning, and trauma means your brain structures are altered, your brain neural networks are altered, and it remains that way, and it doesn't keep track of time. So if the childhood, if there was a trauma in your childhood, even if 25 years have passed, your brain is still in that space. Right. It's unresolved. So it doesn't know that 25 years have passed. It will still behave as if the trauma just... So if you are in a situation like that again, the trauma response will come.
Trigger, yeah.
And what you went through was trauma. And I do agree that if people have gone through trauma, then therapy is one route you have to take to just to visualize it. Like it's a नॉट्स बन गए हैं, तारें उलझ गई हैं ब्रेन की. उस ब्रेन की तारों को सुलझाने में इट्स नॉट एज सिंपल एज यू नो जाओ सो जाओ या ऐसे सैर कर लो या यू नो मज़े कर स्नैप आउट ऑफ इट. यू कैन नॉट, बिकॉज इट डज नीड द ब्रेन. यू नीड टू सी कि क्या हुआ था, एंड अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स वर कन्फ्यूजिंग एट दैट टाइम. सो योर ब्रेन इज़ अ जम्बल्ड मैस, बट व्हेन लेटर ऑन यू सी इट, even by conversations like these, some of it is helping you understand कि ऐसे था, okay, you know, and then it heals. So that's you started therapy immediately?
Yeah, I started therapy in 2021, and as it happens, इसके बाद भी मैं therapy के लिए जा रही हूँ. I don't miss my therapy for no meeting in the world, for no work, for nothing. Maybe
Focusing on what has been the focus?
You know, initially it was just about grief. Like I had to learn how to deal with my grief, deal with the loss that I had in my life. Then it started becoming about all the damage that had happened to me in terms of the self reptilian mode, the armor, how to drop the guard now, how to just relax, like how to just be normal. I started feeling very disassociated in environments. I lost my curiosity again. I was not feeling like मैं होके भी नहीं हूँ. I'm in a room having a conversation, but I'm not really here. I'm not enjoying the things I used to enjoy before. So it took time, and like you said, वो बस समझ पाना कि अच्छा ये हुआ था, इसके वजह से अब मुझे ये लगता है, but actually अब ये नहीं हो रहा है. तुम the truth will set you free. Knowing what is behind that feeling and knowing if it's justified for this current occasion or not. That really helped me. For example, I'll give you an example. Because I was chased, इतने लोग मेरे पीछे भागते थे, that there was a mob, there was media, there was all of that drama. शुरू में जब मैं बाहर जाती थी और अगर मीडिया आती थी या कोई लोग मेरी तरफ भाग के आते थे तो मुझे बहुत एंग्जाइटी होती थी, because it used to take me back. to that time when people were chasing me in that manner. इतनी simple बात बोलूँ तो if I'm entering a restaurant and somebody runs and comes to open the door, क्योंकि आपका ब्रेन सर्वाइवल में है, फाइट और फ्लाइट में, तो आपको लग रहा है कि डेंजर, नहीं फिर वो तो दरवाज़ा ही खोल रहा है, फिर आपको समझाना पड़ता है अपने दिमाग को कि ही वॉज नॉट हियर टू अटैक यू. अब आप समझ गए हो, लेकिन आपके बॉडी के अंदर जो केमिकल चेंजेस होने थे वो हो चुके हैं. So you're there and then you will be tired because after
Stressed. It's a stress response and stress cannot sustain.
yes, after that it takes a while for the cortisol to come down, adrenaline to come down, and I would have cramps. My direct correlation was physical. Like I knew I had been triggered if I got cramps in my calves that next day or that night, because that much lactic acid was formed because I was ready to go. And it would be as simple कि कोई पीछे से आ गया या किसने, because you feel you're in danger at all points. So this is PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And I think the only way that I could have come out of it, like today I happily go and meet the media. I get no anxiety if someone comes running towards me, or if there's 10,000 media also. I don't get any anxiety. That is only because I was able to give myself that much time and patiently do the therapy. क्योंकि therapy also doesn't, people think therapy हाँ एक session किया कुछ नहीं हुआ, ऐसा कुछ होना नहीं है एक दिन में. It's over a period of time that you will get to the bottom of why you feel what you feel, and what and how happened to you that it makes you feel like this in this particular situation. So it's scientific. Yes. So when you break it down, it just simplifies in your mind and you're like, okay, I got triggered, but I'm in a safe place. So that's where self-talk then comes in handy again, where you can talk to yourself and reassure yourself that you're not in danger, or there's no need to panic.
And therapy has worked for you, and you haven't required any medication or anything to deal with this.
I was prescribed anti-anxiety pills by a doctor, by a psychiatrist, and I kept it in my bag. And for me, the trigger was usually social environments, a place where there are too many people. So I kept that medicine in my bag, and the doctor was very nice. She said, actually, only use it if you can't do without it. कि इतनी anxiety हो गई कि अब नहीं हो पा रहा है कुछ. But I still have that in my bag. It's unused. Just having it in my bag gave me the confidence that, अच्छा, what makes you more anxious? कि anxiety होगी तो फिर क्या होगा? How will I get out of it? You're like, okay, I have a medicine. I can get out of it. Right? So then I was like, I never took it because that anxiety got killed.
Do you still have trust issues?
I'm sure I do. I'm sure I do have trust issues. I'm sure I have lots of new things to discover about myself as life goes on, in terms of what is still there. What is the residue of that trauma?
You think you can actually love a man again?
I hope I can.
What do you think?
Right
now?
I really believe in love. I really believe in it being a superpower. I believe that love can heal, and it will be hard for me. That process of, like you said, just even trusting, that process of just even not allowing my triggers to get the better of me when it comes to a relationship. But
in a relationship
में जाने की बात पता चलेगा ना. Like as you put your
been ready to put in a
to be there at this point. But if I do get to that point, I'm certain that there will be triggers, because when I first went back to set, for example, there were some triggers.
Like
I was...
What set was it?
Roadies. For example, I was suddenly nervous about the camera.
Which you never had before.
I never had before, because now for me the camera, which I loved, also became a camera that was the media camera, right?
Weapon, yeah.
Yes. Weapon. So that distinction had to be made in my head. And I'm sure that in my personal life also, if I do get into a relationship again, there will be some triggers. But I'll only be able to explain to you that or understand it myself as they happen. Right?
Just not willing to, but the biggest trigger is you're not willing to put yourself out there right now.
No, I'm not. It's not like that. It's not that I'm not willing. I'm not open to love. I'm not open for that. I do understand that life has to go on, and I do understand that I believe in love. But I don't think the right person has come yet. I don't think I think there's always a right person at the right time. And there's so much happening in my life, to be honest, in the sense that there is still legal work. There's still matters in court. There's still a lot of that. I still don't have my passport. I'm still fighting for that in court. So, when you only have that much bandwidth at the end of the day. I've just reclaimed my life. I've just become normal. I've just started being able to go out without getting triggered. I've just started being able to meet a new person again and have a conversation and not think about what they think about me. So ये सब नया है मेरे लिए और ये बहुत बड़ी अचीवमेंट मैं ऑलरेडी मानती हूँ कि मैं एक नॉर्मल लाइफ जी पा रही हूँ. वाह, एवरी टाइम आई थिंक कि यार मेरे 2-3 साल निकल गए क्योंकि मैं एक्टर थी, मैं ये कर सकती थी, वो कर सकती थी. आई एम लाइक नहीं निकले. आई सेड यू केम बैक टू लिविंग योर नॉर्मल लाइफ, जो मेरे लिए बहुत बड़ी बात है. क्योंकि वही जब मैं जेल में बैठी थी, जैसे मैंने आपसे कहा कि मुझे लगा कि तुम कभी नॉर्मल लाइफ नहीं जी पाओगी. अब मैं जी रही हूँ, यही नॉर्मल लाइफ है. तो
What did you value most in life 5 to 7 years ago? And what do you value most in life now? What do you value most in life now? Let's talk about that. Versus what was it earlier? When you were, none of this was there, just the Bollywood, a couple of movies had come. I'm talking 5 to 7 years ago.
I think I value peace. Like, number one is peace. Mental peace, emotional peace. I don't think I value anything above peace. I really don't. And shanti chahiye bhai. But yes, 5-7 years from now, maybe I would have valued success more than peace. That was the path I was going on. Maybe I would have valued that goal to be, अच्छा जब ये फिल्म कर लोगी या जब इतनी बड़ी स्टार बन जाओगी तब सब सही होगा. Now I feel as long as peace is there, सब सही है. कुछ ना कुछ कर ही लोगी,
You wish to get married, have kids someday? Do you have all those? Do you think of that? Do you, or is it like I'm a spoke? Life will just happen.
So before this incident, I had a plan कि अच्छा हाँ यार 30-31 तक शादी हो जानी चाहिए, बच्चे हो जाने चाहिए, 2 बच्चे चाहिए तो ऐसा होना चाहिए, वैसा होना चाहिए. But because I learnt it the really hard way that it's not in my control. Nobody can know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know. I don't really. If you really ask me, it'll be silly of me to pretend that I know and set up a false expectation for myself कि अच्छा ये होना चाहिए या वो होना चाहिए. जो होना है वो होगा, जब होना है तभी होगा.
Let's, as we go towards the end, let's talk about the lessons. I don't know what to call this podcast, like lessons from jail, lessons from trauma, lessons from your life being turned upside down, how to come from the bottom of the earth and back. I don't know, there's so many options. Yeah, how to come from the bottom of the earth and back, how to bounce back. What are some of the lessons? 5, the people who are watching, who are going through a bad phase in life. It could be nothing compared to what has happened to you. It could be they failed an entrance exam. They didn't get a job. They got fired. They had a very bad breakup. They had a divorce. They lost someone close to them. They had a betrayal. They lost their business. They had lost anything. And their mind is not in a good place. एक तो कुछ बुरा हुआ है and दूसरा it has got to you. ये सब जो हुआ है, what I don't know, I don't want to put a number to it, up to you how many, but let's say 5 lessons you would like to tell people based on your very expensive course that you've done in life, the most expensive course which has taught you things, right? So what are some of the 5 key lessons? In no particular order, whatever comes to you.
I think the one most important thing that I have learned is that the only way to heal is to feel.
Okay. What does that mean?
That means that we often हम escape करना चाहते हैं. जब कोई चीज़ ज़्यादा दुखती है, हम नहीं सोचना चाहते उसके बारे में. We don't want to experience that pain, so we want to avoid it. That avoidant attitude is not good क्योंकि it catches up. फिर वो एंग्जाइटी के फॉर्म में पैदा होता है 1 साल बाद, 2 साल बाद, शायद 10 साल बाद भी आ सकता है. तो जो आप जिस इमोशन से आप गुजर रहे हो उस वक्त, उस इमोशन को वो रिस्पेक्ट देना बहुत ज़रूरी है. हम इमोशन से इतना डरते क्यों हैं? एक इमोशन ही है ना. आपको भी पता है ट्रांजिएंट है. आप कभी खुश हुए हो तो 24 घंटे तो खुश नहीं रहे हो ना. कभी सैड हुए हो तो 24 घंटे तो नहीं रोए हो ना. 1-2 घंटे रो के छोड़ देते हो. किसी से गुस्सा भी हुए हो तो एक दिन बाद थूक ही देते हो, राइट? दिस इज़ ह्यूमन नेचर. तो व्हेन वी थिंक ऑफ सैडनेस और पेन, हम इतना डरते क्यों हैं कि यार ये इसके बारे में सोचना ही नहीं है मुझे. मैंने यू नो पीपल वी हैव दिस अप्रोच. तो वो गलत लगता है मुझे. आई फील द राइट वेज कि लेट इट कम, ट्रीट इट एज अ गेस्ट इन योर ओन लाइफ्स पॉडकास्ट. आओ बैठो बात करो, क्या प्रॉब्लम है, ठीक है, हो गया आपका, चलिए, अच्छा लगा आपसे मिलके. दैट्स हाउ आई ट्रीट माई पेन. उस तरह से क्या होता है, आई रियलाइज वॉट आई एम फीलिंग एंड थ्रू दैट रियलाइजेशन यू हील. Healing is, according to me, is nothing else but allowing yourself to feel. Because as you feel, you heal. If you don't feel, you can't heal.
That's very nicely put. What else?
The other would be listen to your inner voice. Whatever anyone says about you, whatever the world thinks about you, whatever even your parents think about you, or your spouse thinks about you, or siblings think about you, doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is your own inner voice. आपके अंदर की आवाज़. सबके अंदर एक आवाज़ होती है, अपनी खुद की आवाज़. अब आप उसे सेल्फ टॉक कहें या कुछ भी कहें, वो सबसे पावरफुल होनी चाहिए और वही मायने रखनी चाहिए आपकी लाइफ में, क्योंकि आपको पता ही आपकी लाइफ है, आपको कैसे जीनी है, आप क्या बनना चाहते हो. So don't live by the conditioning, don't live by the rules that society has laid out for you कि you should be this kind of a girl or that kind of a girl or that kind of a boy or this kind of a boy. Live the way you want to live, as long as you're not harming anyone.
Nice. Let's just do one more. 5 is too many.
Yeah, 5 is too many.
वो ज़्यादा ही homework हो गया. नहीं, but you're giving very deep lessons. Okay, listen to your voice. To heal is to feel. And then one more.
Stay curious. Just be curious. It'll automatically bring you into the current moment.
Curious about everything around you.
Everything in your life. Curious about people. Curious about different subjects. Maybe, you know, if you're an arts person, maybe be curious about science. If you're a science person, maybe be curious about literature. I don't know. Like, we've just lost that touch because we're constantly on Instagram browsing all sorts of rubbish all day. And that's causing ADHD. But if you actually just sit down and read a book, maybe, like, you'll be like, oh, I don't.
And if in case you need an author, just say, okay, not plugging. No, that's very true. And you know, being curious is why I started this podcast. I love being curious. That's why I became a writer. तभी मैं writer बना कि I was curious about the world and I felt like her. And as a motivational speaker, I would go and give this talking. So I was like, मैं ज्ञान बांटे जा रहा हूँ, but when will I learn? So this is an opportunity for me to listen. Someone told me you need to listen better. So this has made me a better listener, I think. And I expected to learn from this podcast. And I did learn, Rhea. I did learn that human beings, what you said, you don't know how strong you are because you've not been tested yet. Human beings are stronger than they think. That part has really stayed with me. This thing of to feel things, the fact that you have to find that one positive in the 100 negatives. You know, I always say शादी में जैसे अगर पनीर हार्ड है, सपोजिंग जो पंजाबी में कहते हैं, और आप शादी में एक डिश ख़राब बनी है और आप वहाँ खड़े होके बैठे रहो और बोलो पनीर हार्ड है, कितना गंदा पनीर है, कितना बंद है, पर दाल तो ठीक बनी है, दाल खा लो. So life में sometimes it's like that, you know. You cannot.
It's how you view it.
Something is there. चटनी और रोटी खा लो, कई बार उसमें ही मज़े आ जाते हैं. So you know, and like you said, when you told me that jail has a form of equality because it doesn't have society's hierarchy, that I think was very insightful. I've never heard anyone say that, and it's so true. So actually I have learned a lot. So I had a great experience. I hope you enjoyed.
It was a lovely talk, and this is what I wanted to have, was a slightly deeper conversation. I think it's apt.
Yes.
Your title is apt because यू नो अक्सर जब हम किसी को देखते हैं तो हमें उनके बारे में वही चीज़ें दिखती हैं जो हम देखना चाहते हैं. सो इफ़ यू गो बियॉन्ड दैट तो काफ़ी वक्त खजाना भी मिल जाता है.
गाइज अगर आप अब तक यहाँ पे हो हमारे साथ तो थैंक यू वेरी मच.
होप आप हो.
सब्सक्राइब टू सपोर्ट सच काइंड ऑफ कंटेंट. यू नो इफ आई डू केले पे फिसल रहे होते हैं हम दोनों तो ज़्यादा व्यूज़ आते हैं, बट आई डोंट डू दैट. एज यू नो माई पर्पज इज़ नॉट टू गेट द व्यूज़ बट टू गेट द क्वालिटी audience, and I know quality audience comes to Deep Talk. And if you liked it, please comment, and you can give whatever comments, but be polite and be respectful. Think of, say someone was in your family, you know, would you like people of your family, how would you like to be spoken to, how would you like to speak to them? Be respectful. वैसे my channel we always get only good comments because it's very high quality audience. Channel has not been designed.
All the best for this talk.
कुछ नहीं होगा, yeah, it's fine, and it's fine. And like I said, my purpose was different. My purpose was to find a person who's gone through a lot and is still sitting here smiling and trying to get back, trying to heal, and trying to, because that's a lot of us in different degrees.
Yes.
And हमें लगता है कि हम नहीं कर पाएंगे या कैसे चीज़ें नॉर्मल होंगी. We've all gone through phases like that. So someone like you has taken an expensive course of life, the most expensive course, which I hope happens to nobody else. But you have something, some value to add because of that. I think there is some positive out of every negative, isn't it?
I agree. And like you said at the beginning of this podcast when we were talking that if our conversation helps even one person, then I think our mission for this afternoon is met.
Help more than one person. For sure, Rhea. And Rhea will read the comments?
I won't.
No, read. I trust me. Trust my audience, especially those who have come till this point in the podcast. Do tell what you feel, and Rhea will respond to a few comments. It's okay. You will. I know there is a comments trigger you.
No, they don't trigger me actually. I'm happy to send hearts to anyone who's saying bad things also.
They will not. My YouTube channel is not like that. It is for people to learn, and these are people who want to be like top 5% in their field, who want to improve themselves. ये वो मस्खरी वाला channel यहाँ नहीं है, ना ही ये Sherlock Holmes channel है. And that's not what I do. I do that in my fiction. Thank you so much, Rhea, for being so candid, so open, and rise to reconnect after so long. Thank you guys for watching Deep Talk. ये था Deep Talk Rhea Chakraborty के साथ. Keep watching. Take care.